Perfect. So it is 12:30. A very, very good afternoon to everyone. I think we'll just wait one more minute because I see a lot of people coming into the webinar. Very good. So I think we'll get started. So first of all, I'd like to say a very, very good afternoon and warm welcome to all of you. Thank you very, very much to our IEMBA panel. Welcome to you and welcome to all of you who are joining us today for this IEMBA Alumni Panel webinar. My name is Kristen Fuchs and I oversee recruitment and admissions for the IEMBA program. And really, it's a great pleasure to have you all joining us and to see so much interest in the IEMBA program. So before actually introducing our alumni panel and hearing about their journeys, their firsthand experiences, and especially their takeaways from the program, I'd like to offer just an overview or a glance of the International Executive Program for those of you particularly who are not too familiar with the program. So I will share my screen. So the IEMBA, as we call it, the International Executive MBA at a glance, it really is an international EMBA with a focus on general management with a strong international approach for purpose-driven global leaders. The language of the program is English. It is an 18-month part-time program. So during those 18 months, there are actually 14 weeks of study. And as you can see, the curriculum is 10 fundamental courses. We call each course a course because it is 1 week of study. So there are 10 fundamental courses and 4 elective courses, which total these 14 weeks over the 18 months. There's also what we call the PDP, which is the Personal Development Program, and the IEMBA includes a thesis as well. Course location, very interesting for the IEMBA program. The fundamental courses take place in St.Gallen, in the USA, in Japan, and in China, although this can change from year to year. And the electives take place in St.Gallen, Costa Rica, South Africa, USA, Italy, and Spain. The program tuition is 85,000 Swiss francs or 80,000 Swiss francs if you are able to apply before the first application deadline. And there is and will be a slight increase for 2027. The next start date is the 24th of August, 2026, and we call this IEMBA 14 because it is the 14th year of the program. And the application deadlines, which are very important. The first application deadline, which offers the tuition incentive and reduces the tuition to 80,000, is the 31st of March, 2026. And the final application deadline is the end of June, so June 30, 2026. Going back to our panel, without any further ado, it's really a pleasure, and I'm delighted to introduce our IEMBA panel today. Smilia, who comes from the IEMBA 9 course. Smilia is a commercial director at Tofbeck. Also, Maxim from IEMBA 10. He is a consultant with Boston Consulting Group. And Samir, also from IEMBA 10, and he is the Director of Investor Relations at Linkscap Investments. So to begin, I will really hand it over to each of you, and it would be great if you could introduce yourselves and maybe tell us a little bit about what led you to the IEMBA program and maybe what you were thinking when you actually chose IEMBA. So, Smilia.
Yeah, maybe ladies first. First of all, good afternoon to everybody, to yourself, Christine, and organizers, and also to all the participants. Very happy to be here. I'll just give a little bit of a background so it can be maybe interesting for participants. I actually come from technical background. I have a PhD in organic chemistry from University of Edinburgh. And then I had experience over 20 years in international big corporations, namely Procter& Gamble for 10 years, Philip Morris International, and my last position is in Tofwork, which is a small medium enterprise, which actually was recently acquired by Bruker. So again, back into the large organization, a large corporate company. What led me to EMBA course and activity? It was, first of all, as I said, I had a background which was technical, but I kind of grew towards more business attuned environment, and was my first position at Offerk was actually business development manager. And I was feeling that I really want to be well stabilized in this environment, and also acquire some important knowledge and vocabulary, and close some gaps which I didn't understand I have at the time. So I choose the HSG because of excellent reputation. This was my first way to actually, and because of this international flair. So I really enjoyed the ability to be exposed to different environments, business environments, different, US, China, name it, South Africa, etc. And that just felt that is really good for me. As I said, I work in international companies, and global approach is something I was looking for. So very pleased to be a part of the panel, and happy to address any further questions.
Wonderful. Thank you very much, Smilia. I'll pass it over to you, Maxime.
Hi everyone. Thank you for having me here today, and happy to support HighSkey. My name is Maxim. I'm a consultant acting PL right now in Boston Consulting Group. Right now, my specialization is lie on banking area, finance and M&A. And before that, I used to work in industrial goods with commodities and metals and mining. So I also have a technical background. I think what led me there is at the point when I considered, I wasn't looking for title change. I was looking more for expansion, for international exposure, I would say. And I wanted a truly global perspective that would somehow change my way of thinking. I could realize how diverse the cohort will be. I was seeking not only academical growth, but rather lifetime experience, something transformational rather than incremental. And I wanted to step outside of my, let's say, comfort zone, benchmark myself against global leaders, and develop maybe a bit more strategic perspective, because I could realize that most of my peers, they a bit more mature, a bit more senior. I was the youngest. We have another guy who was also with the same age of me. We were 32, 33, but it was the youngest, I would say, couple. So, and developed a strategic mindset, which made me to shift a bit from functional and operational environment. So, and yeah, happy to share experience here. Thank you for having me here.
Okay, thank you very much, Maxime. And last but not least, Samir.
Thank you, Christine, and thank you to my fellow panelists as well as the participants and the organizers of the webinar. Um, my background started pre-MBA in sales in Toronto, Canada, as a senior VP of sales at Sotheby's International Realty Canada. I was part of a very high-performance real estate team, the number one team in Canada, approximately $250 million in sales per year. And my choice to join the IEMBA at Hayeske was more personal. I was exactly where I needed to be in terms of my career, but I was looking for something a little bit more. I had a litmus test that was applied to myself of what was I going to regret not doing when I'm 80 years old. And one of the answers were quite clear. It would be to go back to school to get a better understanding in terms of all the business units and how they operate in a corporation, and to get that international experience abroad and finish an MBA. So that's what led me to Hayeske. But what I came out of it, I'm now working in Zug in an investor relations role. So background was completely in sales, and I've sort of pivoted, but obviously the skills were transferable. So what you come into the MBA thinking is actually quite different when you come out of it. So I think that's the theme for me.
Wonderful. Thank you very much, Samir. And listening to all this, it sounds like you have very, very busy lives, a lot going on professionally. I can imagine also personally. So maybe how would you answer the question about how do you really balance personal life, professional life, work, and studies during the program?
If we're gonna go in the same order, I can start probably. I am also professional. As I started MBA, I was full-time employed and I haven't had any breaks in between. In that sense, I'm also a mother. I have three children, and I was still very much determined that I will go through this one. And what one needs to realize, it's a really serious commitment, right? It's time and effort and also prioritization. So during my EMBA, let's say, journey, I was pretty much committed to classes, that was for sure. Then I said, okay, I'm going to do some of the sport activities. I'm very proud of. So I really took part of these sport activities regularly. And I also will do networking, right? These were three things I was saying. And I would encourage everybody who are considering this to stick at least with those three, if not more. But you also need to be conscious of the time and effort. Life is busy, but you can always set aside what's the early prioritization and you can go with that. I am happy that I've struck a good balance. So it was something, as I said, I stayed very active with the work I had. I actually even progressed during the MBA studies. I learned the skills I needed. I acquired the knowledge that was important for my role. I also had a good, let's say, physical activities, so kind of you can vent off a little bit from all the pressure and everything. And finally, you also need to network. And not only that you need to, you want to, right? Um, I met some wonderful people. We are still connected, not only from EMBA 9, but also from 10 and 8. And, even today, I'm probably going to stay in touch with Maxime and Samir. So I think it's really important to kind of maximize the experience and try to balance it. Even if the life is busy, you can still make it through.
Great. Thank you, Smidia.
Yeah, I can't agree more. I mean, the commitment phase and then the following the consistency phase, it requires a lot of effort. But then what I'm gonna say is a bit common sense, but it requires a bit of dedication. So planning ahead, blocking out the key academic weeks and deadlines, and make the prioritization, and which is very important to communicate with your family and with your team, knowing when to protect the study time and when you delegate the work. Um, Luckily, I had a great employer who could allow me to do that, and maybe what helped me as well is a micro habits, using short daily study shot instead of waiting a large block of the time. Especially it was very much useful for thesis because most of us underestimated. It was a serious job, if to be honest. And support network like learning classmates and colleagues for encouragement and shared accountability. So then you can count on somebody and then you can support somebody, that would be, I think, rules which I would use to balance in this intense period, like when you have a family, when you have work, and when you have such serious program.
Thank you, Maxim.
Yeah, that
And for myself,
Anything to add to that, Samir?
yeah, very briefly, because my situation was a little bit different. I was able to actually immerse myself into the program completely, so I didn't have to balance family and work. So I took some time off, and I just immersed myself everything in St.Gallen in the program. So gave my 100% dedication. So for me, I think the advice that I would give would be in terms of balancing is use the resources that are there. The school, the support, your fellow cohort, use what is in front of you to help you get through it once you've made that commitment to start this journey. And I found that very helpful throughout the entire process.
Great. Thank you very much. I think those are really good tips because a lot of people do wonder, how am I going to balance all of this? So that's really appreciated. Maybe if we take a look then, once you've actually completed the program, first of all, what were the insights and experiences that have really had a lasting impact on you, either professionally or personally or both?
I actually was aiming to learn, and it was curiosity about learning and setting myself in a business environment. And possibly my motivation was high to go, like, progress towards the corporate level, CEO, etc. I came back with a totally different understanding of what that role is and what it means and what it takes. And a really, really important question, is this what I want? And this is kind of up to the participant also to think that your journey towards what you are intending to do and you think MBA will give you, it might be very different when you finish it. So I was lucky enough to progress in career very well, and during the MBA I was already promoted, and even now I am the second time promoted. So that was coming, that's given in a way. I would say if you work hard, this is the path you follow, and this will come. What is really important is this assessment of your own skills and desires. Where do you want to be, and is this something that changes over time, even through the MBA itself? My thesis was about interviewing many CEOs, and I had that span of understanding. Oh wow, okay, this is the world of CEO. Maybe this is not for me. So you should also be open to kind of change and challenge yourself in a way. I started with this, but actually this is what I want. And I also end up with a couple of surprises for myself where, you are often not realizing what are your exceptional strengths and also your weaknesses. But when you are exposed in this executive environment where everybody are excellent, right, you start to see that much better. And to me, that was really, really useful. So you surprise yourself, oh, I actually didn't know I'm so good at that. I assume everybody are good at that, right? But also, this is the area where I should really seriously improve, right? So I think overall, progression is the key. It's going to happen no matter what, career-wise, personally-wise, but also self-awareness, where do you want to be?
Oh, those are valuable insights and great experiences. Thank you, Smilia.
Oh,
Samir,
from my side, the biggest takeaway I would say it was a kind of transformational mindset because I had a purely result-oriented, I would say even operator approach. And I moved to more strategic, purpose-driven leadership. I reflected on my values. We had a with nice subjects which helped us there. And professionally, I think it strengthened my ability to navigate the complexities, especially when you are such diverse cohort, and to do it with the confidence. It is very important when you work in any business, but especially in consulting business. It helped me to deepen my self-awareness, what I want, where I want to, what kind of angle and in which areas I want to develop myself. And after EMBA, I shift from commodity and metals and mining business to more, I would say, financial part. Right now, working with the bank, in banking area. So it helped me do direction to blend empathy with opportunity to have more helicopter view, I would say. And it has been reinforced with my peers a lot. I think it was the most valuable thing with what I learned from my peers. The program is structured, it's well balanced, but the peers, it was amazing experience.
Great. Thank you, Maxim. Samir.
And I just will echo everything that my fellow panelists have shared. You come in there. For me, it was I was going to add to my toolkit, and I looked at it from that perspective. Mainly, I wanted to get a better understanding of the different business units and how they interact with one another, and sort of build on that. But what you come out of it is this sort of transformation that occurs that isn't a revolution of yourself, but I would rather say it's an evolution of yourself. You start to realize like Smia mentioned, your where you could improve your self-awareness, as Maxim mentioned, all these other skills that I thought I had, but when you're able to come out of it with a perspective of how other people think, how you view yourself, what your weaknesses are, what your strengths are, and add the layers of empathy and self-leadership to that, you become a totally different person. So I think just to sort of tie it all together, yes, the toolkits are there. You're going to gain a lot of skills that you perhaps may not have had in terms of understanding the different business units, but you come out of it as a better human being, a better leader, a better friend. My cohort was so diverse. We had people from all different genres, whether it was from pharmaceuticals, engineering, finance, sales, you name it, we had it. And we were all super different, but we had a lot in common. And that commonality was our pursuit for growth and knowledge. So yeah, that was my biggest takeaway.
Well, thank you to all of you for sharing those insights and experiences. Maybe we could just even expand on that. And part of the program, one of the really, I think, key components is the PDP, the Personal Development Program. How did that play a role in all of this development and this enrichment and this evolution, as you talked about, Samir?
As I mentioned before, take advantage of the resources that you have. And the PDP program was excellent in terms of what they provide. So, I mean, not only, not to sort of go into the actual PDP program, but use that resources, whether it be your personal coaching sessions to evaluate what your skills are, what are the areas that you want to improve. You have them at your disposal. They're completely covered. They're not mandatory, if you were to say, but I found them very instrumental in my journey. So take advantage of those resources. Whether it be career counseling, whether it be, tuning up your CV, understanding what your strengths are, etc. The PDP program is, I would say, designed for you. You can design it with as you wish. So that was instrumental part of the journey, actually. And I would recommend definitely exploring it rather than saying, hey, it's not a mandatory thing for me to do, but you should do it because you'll benefit from it.
Great. Anything else that you'd like to add, Smilia or Maxime, about the PDP and from your experiences, or?
Yes, I think it was a lot has been said by Samir and really nicely, right? I would encourage also activities around your own thinking, not only kind of following the whatever is the PDP there, but it's just really thinking yourself, what is it that you want? And this exposure to different diverse group, which was also the case in my EMBA course, and which I loved a lot. I would also recommend that people look for the fundamentally different person in your cohort and work together. You would learn the most. about yourself and about the others, right? And if you tend to do that, I was by the end of it, I actually had one-on-one with everybody, and I joined absolutely every group, which and this is happening also. The course organizers know this, but it's so important to do that because you actually build more meaningful relationship, professional relationship, but also friendship, right? And you stay in touch with those people. And plus, you see the side of yourself that you have not known. And in a business context, that translates, you would be able to work with anybody that comes your way, right? And you will know how to work well. So that would be another thing just come to me as Samir was mentioning this. That could be a nice thing for somebody to explore as they join.
Wow, great. Thank you, Smiley. Great tips. Mhm.
But from my side, I would say the PDP program for me was a bit customized because, as I said before, I did my prioritization at the moment I was commuting from Copenhagen, and I had a quite intense period at my work, and I missed some of those coaching sessions, but those which I had were super useful. But I can build on what has been said before, that your peers is the main source for learning, and especially when you work with somebody who is a very much different. This is where you thrive. This is where you develop yourself. This is where you change the approach to work with in different way. And this is how you build your differentiated leadership.
Mhm. Great, thank you. Yeah, and I think that's an aspect, the personal development program, which it really is part of the program, the entire 18 months, and I would say even longer in a sense, right? But somehow we look at the academic content and that's a little bit put underneath, but it really is an essential part of the program. So thank you very much for sharing those insights and those experiences. Clearly, one of the biggest, let's say, one of the most, I think, important aspects of the program is its international approach and the international experience, right? As I mentioned in the overview, students spend at least 4 weeks abroad for the program. And maybe you could talk a little bit about your experiences, what you were thinking before you joined those courses, the anticipation, the expectations, and what were the takeaways from your experiences abroad during the program?
For me, as I said, this was the key. I knew I'm going to sign for international EMBA, not normal, right? And I would also say these days, more than ever, the world of business is very global, right? Although it seems to be broken in some parts, but let's say it's really important to have the perspective of others. Let it be this is your business partner, let it be your customer, etc. We are all dealing on a global basis. So in principle, we face people who come from US, from China, from Africa, or even Europe itself. So it's super valuable to have those experiences and also tune yourself in that environment. So it's not as enough just to kind of have it remotely, etc. Although I understand there was lots of sessions which were needed to be this way, but I would absolutely recommend to go to all of those trips, be there, live that. We have visited in my cohort, we visited US, which I find extremely valuable. There were two modules which we had there. Very well renowned universities, etc. Lots of innovation, entrepreneurship, etc. So a lot to learn and extract. We have missed, unfortunately, the China. We done some other alternative, but as I said, I follow up on China afterwards because I understood this is something which you need to do. Africa also. So I would say this is super critical, very enabling, a lot to learn, and also tune yourself better as a business leader and attune yourself toward the environment that you do need to understand being there rather than just from distance. So I truly recommend. I also had, as I said, worked in a global organization, and maybe maximizing this is also good to visit perhaps the affiliates of your organization, extend the trip, kind of immerse yourself even if you are in the company which has international reach, visit those and learn. And this for me was a really important experience.
Thank you, Smilia.
Yeah, it was. Journey. It was really valuable aspects of IEMBA. I traveled to Singapore, to US, to South Africa, to Italy. Uh, and surrounded by different perspectives, different uh, leaders and leadership styles. It impacted me a lot. And what I think the most thing I appreciate is diversity of thinking, especially during the project work, but also informal part, like group talk, breaks. Sometimes we had fun after education. So it was super useful.
Thank you, Maxime.
And my fellow panelists have covered pretty much what I was thinking, but if I may add just one more detail, it was a great opportunity for it's I think where our cohort really just meld together is the international trips that we took together. And that says a lot, and it's an important element because as Maxim mentioned, your main support are your fellow cohort members. So for me, the aha moments really occurred on those trips. And then taking advantage of, the fact that we are here to do an MBA, partially due to the networking opportunities that are in front of us. So connecting with such a diverse group of professionals from different industries is your opportunity to develop that network essentially. And as Mia mentioned, visiting your offices in these other countries is a great opportunity to again expand upon your network because that is also a key part of the IEMBA program. And for
Thank
me, traveling to California, to
you.
Singapore, to Italy, to Spain, yeah, it was just invaluable. Yeah.
Great. Thank you, all three of you. Maybe if you've given us so many insights and so many great experiences you've talked about. What would you describe as your biggest takeaway? If you can identify one takeaway, maybe two, but what would you talk about? What would be the biggest takeaways?
I mean, we all would agree that this was really a true life-changing experience, and it's not just we say it, we actually really mean it, right? I would say for me, and for all participants will take this is really a challenge. It is a challenge, right? Challenge on time, challenge on yourself, on the learning itself, on all the stuff we were discussing. But I would also say. You would uncover yourself in a very different way, and progress will happen. It's unbelievable, and it will actually exponentially grow. The progress will be happening in almost every direction of your life, right? You will be tired. This is the no progress. This is where, but you will be depleted, but you will be progressing. And more you are into this NBA insights to impact kind of a thing, you will continue rolling even more, and opportunities for you will become bigger and bigger. I just have one small funny example as I joined the corporate governance model, and I was thinking, wow, okay, so I'm sure somebody will ask in the startup, like, who was at the board of director? Does anybody attended board of director meeting? And I was thinking, I'm going to be the only one who will say no, right, or not raise my hand. So I worked for a month in my company to get myself into that board of director meeting, and I managed to do it. And it is because of EMBA, right? So I'm coming to this course ready that I have been to one meeting of the board of director, and they asked the question, and I was the only one raising my hand. And I was like, what? So what I'm trying to say is like, challenge yourself in a way that you don't even understand where it will take you, right? And as you start into this, you're just progressing and progressing.
That's a great takeaway. Thank you, Smilia. Maxim.
My answer going to be short. I think it is a confidence, which comes from trust yourself. And when you start to trust yourself, and when you work on on challenges and you overcome those challenges, and when you trust yourself that you can do it. So I can compare myself in the beginning of the program, at the end of the program. So I would say I became more confident in terms of what I'm saying, what I'm heading, when I'm leading my team. So yeah, that would be it.
Oh, great. Thank you. Samir.
second to all of those answers. For me, it's your journey. Make it your journey, and like I said, we were all there at the beginning of the program, all with this pursuit of knowledge and growth. But that is very specific to the individual. So whether it be, that you're looking to graduate and get that C club position, whether it be transferring your skills into a completely different industry, whether it just be for growth and knowledge or to challenge yourself, as Mia mentioned, it's your personal journey. Tailor that to yourself. And this journey, like everyone has mentioned, you think you start coming into it with what you want out of it, but you come out of the other end with that and exponentially more.
Fantastic. Thank you very much to all three of you. You've given us a lot of advice, actually. Is there anything else that you would want to share in terms of advice for someone who is considering applying for the IEMBA?
I will just say sign up. I mean, this is as simple as that, right? Use this. What is the timeline? I think it's March or so. Just sign yourself up. Go for it. I signed myself 2 weeks before that started, which I didn't realize that there's a testing, etc. But you know what? I didn't regret it one bit, and the timing was perfect. I was the last one to enter, and I was very happy that I'm there. Maximize it, go for it, and you will see better side of the things for yourself. And as I said, progress will come no matter what. This is almost granted. So just go for it.
Great.
From my side, try to understand what exactly you want to get there. Do not build your answer only based on a knowledge, because you can get knowledge and skills right now from everywhere, especially when we have such sophisticated systems, AI, etc. But if you said yes, then just enjoy the trip and maybe set expectation. I would say do not set expectation precisely, but set expectation to enjoy the trip. Wherever it is, I'm pretty sure you will like it.
Thank you, Maxim.
And if you're teetering on the fence, or you're not sure, I mean, ask away, visit the campus, speak to alumnus members, and just inform yourself. It definitely was probably one of the most important decisions I made in my life, to be quite honest, is to enter this program. And I'm very glad I did. And this is not a sales pitch.
Thank you, Samir. Thank you to all of you. Well, we had a lot of questions come in. Thank you to all of you in the audience for submitting those questions when you registered. And I hope we'll get to all of them. But I would also invite you, just in case we have time, the chat function, it works, but we won't be able to monitor it. So if you have additional questions for the panel, please put them in the Q&A area of the Zoom. I think you can see that at the bottom of your screen. If not, check under more, and then you'll find that option. And we will try to get to them. Time is flying by, but let's at least get to the questions that were submitted during the registration process. And the first one, and I will just throw this one out to any of you who'd ever like to answer. If looking back in retrospect, is there anything that you wish you had known before starting the program?
Okay, I can start. I wish I knew that there will be a test, like assessment test that you need to do. As I said, I signed myself literally, I decided 2 or a couple of days before to sign up, and okay, but you need to do test now. Okay, so there is a certain element of preparation which would make it easier, in that sense. Apart from that, I would also say people need to get their kind of agenda sorted in terms of accommodation, in terms of everything. You're going to be staying at St.Gallen, right? And you should kind of get yourself in that space, understand, it's a small place, right? In a small town, you need to get your logistics, etc., ready. And then finally, A thesis itself, also, I must say that was a little bit something that I underestimated. Not in terms of but let's say time required for something to be executed at the level that is needed. Apart of these three, I think the rest you can handle, but these couple were just my kind of a tips to think about.
Great tips. Many thanks. Anything else?
I think I wish know how intense the time commitment would be, not just during models, but also in between the preparation, the group work, the travel, alignments. It required discipline. And if I could go back, I would plan my calendar, let's say 3, 6 months ahead and proactively block timing. Another practical insight is that you don't need to be oriented too much on the result of the assessment, but rather to understanding and then apply it for your understanding the framework and apply for your own business situation um, or your personal business context. And yes, it has been said before, your peers uh, count them more than you can imagine, and it will help you to build a really trustful relationship. And as has been mentioned before, the alumni society is very strong in high school. We still get connected. We have birthday to each other, and congrats with different significant events. So. Yeah, I didn't know that alumni could be that strong. I'm speaking about my cohort.
Mhm. Thanks a lot, Maxim. Okay, good. Then I will move on to the next question in that case. One of the things, and I often hear this question as well, so thank you to the person who has posed this question. For those people who have already a background in general management, is what you learn in the program really useful? Are they new skills for management for those who do have a bit of background?
Definitely, definitely. It's not only new, but also you go deeper. You go deeper and you close the gaps if you had, right? And we all have them, right? I mean, in my case, it was a lot of vocabulary, right, which was not quite common, right? And then as you exit the MBA, then you're full of these wordings, etc., which just speak for themselves. But even apart from that, there's always a little bit more you can learn. For me, even let's say soft skills, negotiation techniques, some let's say strategic discussions, some of those things can be really deepened. So as I said, I started as a business development manager, and then I ended up further. And for example, finance, accounting, there's always something that you probably are not at the same level. And there are people who are CFOs, right, in our cohort. So you cannot really match up, but learning, you can equalize. And I think that is the answer. So definitely, and there will be more and deeper.
Great. Thank you, Smidia. Very helpful.
Yeah, I would agree. Depth is there. You might revisit the familiar concepts, but also much more advanced and applied level. Also, international perspective is there. Peer learning is there. Leadership maturity, network with a long-term value is there. So all those values are there, and I'm pretty sure that those are. I'm sorry for noise. Those are very much valuable.
Great.
I have nothing to add. I think the other panelists just covered that perfectly, to be quite honest.
Great. Okay, thank you. That was really helpful. Another question that I get, so again, thank you to whoever has submitted this question. There's a lot of subjects that are covered, a lot of courses ranging from AI and coding to financial reporting to negotiations and conflict management. So really a wide range. And of course, no one, well, maybe there are some, but many people are really not experts and specialists in each of those areas and don't even maybe have the proper training that they think that they need to come into a program like this. How would you, how would you reply to that question? Not having the knowledge maybe in all of those areas.
Okay, I'll take this one because this is your opportunity to actually challenge yourself. So rather than put on the lens that you want to take a course that you know something about, this is an opportunity for you to take a course that you know nothing about. So that's sort of the approach that I took. It was a great opportunity to take a course in AI and coding, or whether it be negotiations, whether it be diversity and inclusion. This is your chance to go outside of your comfort zone. And so I think there's a lot of value, not just, sticking to what you know, but there's a lot of value in entering the other side.
Great. Okay. Good. Thank you very much. Moving on then, another question that comes up quite frequently is this idea of sort of fueling one's career bridge or building that bridge, solidifying a bridge for those who are not necessarily based in the DACH, the German, Swiss, Austrian region, but actually who are working abroad in on another continent, in maybe emerging markets. This question was specifically addressed to was concerning regions of Africa, for example. How can that career bridge be built and maybe solidified?
Hmm. Yes, yes, this is a very good question. And I think the international side of MBA that addresses this question, right? So I think exposure to, as I said, different markets, right? Emerging markets and obviously different high speed up markets is US and now even China. But what you can do is first of all, realize the way how the business being set up, right? And these visits, which we have these short trips or week trips, really help you that. And in those trips, we have modules where you really get immersed into a certain activities related to the business of whatever is that, right? Is it a startup or is it a company itself, or is it just academic environment where you are learning how to actually do? And there's a big differences, right, versus DACH region and Europe itself, if we talk about it, and versus emerging market. I am currently in the role which is commercial director for EMEA. So Europe is where I am, but clearly I work with the other regions which are different, right? And the business way of working and also it's very different. So I would say possibility to attend these trips, learning through the modules which are specifically designed, emerging markets, wonderful. If this is what you need to do, you go there, you absorb that, and that will help you. If you are later referencing through your career prospects or whatever is your desire, you can specify that you had even that small experience. This will also be perceived as very valuable. So I would say it's possible to bridge. And I would also echo that the global environment and international appeal of doing business in this module really sits well. And people recognize more and more this international aspect, even as you present yourself. I've done the HSG MBA. Is it international one? That just gives you a little bit of a different setup than if you are just classical MBA, I would say.
Thank you. Well addressed. Thank you. I think that was I hope that for the person who posed that question, I hope that was really helpful. I think it was.
Two things from
Good.
my side is that IEMBA is a kind of gateway to DAC market because IEMBA has a good connection with the ecosystem, and we had a lot of lectures and visitors from the business, so you could know the region better and maybe to build your business opportunities. And another is understanding a distant leadership culture, how this DAC experience can be applied to other areas, especially when we're talking about industrial business, very precise approach, I would say. So yeah, that for people who are not from DACH region, it will be very much useful to see how the economy works there, and also how it works in different regions as well.
Great. Thank you, Maxim. Good. Then I'll move on to the last question. Well, actually, we still have some time. talking about the impact on executive roles, because indeed, as a couple of you have mentioned, certainly, I think you mentioned, Similia, that there were CFOs, there are CEOs in these cohorts. Really, how does the program prepare and let's say, what is the impact of IEMBA on, let's say, one's career going into an executive role?
When I was introduced in my cohort and there was somebody who said I am a CFO, I was like, why? Right? I mean, but that was my fault, right? I mean, at the end of the day, we all have, as I said, some gaps to close and some learnings and curiosity towards where do we want to go. So clearly, that was an interesting perspective because we all had been so diverse, exactly as the other participant, the other interview panelist said. And to me, this was amazing because at the end of the day, you would, after you finish, you have all of those people as your network. So let's say if I'm in a position of a difficult financial question or something that I feel that I need somebody who will, I do have that friend from who is a CFO and he will give me a snap, quick answer, right? So what I'm trying to say is like, even that your cohort is possibly executives, right? At the high level, they all want to maybe do something else. They might want to switch to some other part of career or do something different, right? We all want to evolve in some ways, right? But what's common is that in this broad scope of the MBA course, you have that opportunity. You can grab those portions that you need. And that was the excellent example there for me. At the first day, like, okay, wait a second, he needs something else, and you maybe need what he has, right? So I think that then plays up quite well.
Right.
And for me, I just want to maybe relate to one particular module that really, I guess, would resonate towards anyone who wants to venture into the C Club area is Capstone, and the takeaways from that. So we had obviously CFOs in our class, and we had CEOs that became CEOs after the course. So just FYI.
Yeah.
The capstone module was fantastic in terms of helping decision making and what actually occurs at that level in terms of making decisions. In short, if that's sort of where you want to go, the course and the program certainly prepares you for it. And there's also open programs as well. I think there's from what I noticed, there's a board of directors sort of course that you can take as well. So if you want to explore sort of the upper echelons of management, I mean, it's an executive MBA after all. So yeah.
Great. So lots and lots of positive takeaways, lots of great insights. One of the questions in the Q&A box is, what was your toughest moment in the program, and how did you overcome it? If any of you are willing to share that. If there was a tough moment, maybe there wasn't.
No, there's always the tough moments. We should not be saying that it's all always positive, right? And I think we are all realistic that there are definitely tough moments. I would say it's intensity, right? Intensity of learning, balancing the work, which doesn't stop, right? I mean, for some of us, and also your family and all the commitment that you have with traveling on top of it, and then maximizing the whole thing, right? So you're trying to really, so definitely there were tough moments. There were moments where people also felt unsure how they done in a certain, modules, etc., which, are to a certain level, right? Which you do need to pass them, and it would look very embarrassing if you don't, right? But I would say is one thing that there is you should never take yourself too seriously about this, right? I think at the end of the day, we are all learners, right? And even in that cohort there's lots of friendliness, right? There's understanding that we are equal here. We are students of certain kind, no matter what our careers and everything else we have behind us and what's to come. We are still there to learn certain things and grasp on them really, really quickly. So when it's like that, join the social events, go to these sports activities, at least that was my thing, and overcome this hurdle. As you look back on it, you're thinking, oh, okay, it was tough, but you done it, right? So that's all.
Thank you, Smilia.
Yeah, from my side, I think it was a thesis, definitely one of the toughest. From the perspective of skills, hard skills, I didn't have issues like with Excels and presentation, etc. It was fine. But when you do the group project, sometimes it's tough to bring your view, perspective, or defend your point in an elegant way, especially when you are from different cultures. So that was a area where I learned a lot.
Great, thank you.
Like anything new, there's challenges, and just embrace them and trust the process. It would be sort of my advice, but yeah, it's just adapting. I think from a humanistic point of view, I think as individuals, as humans, we can be hard on ourselves, and we compare ourselves when you enter that classroom and you see all the different professionals in your class. It's easy to sort of rank yourself or look at others, but really this is your journey, and the beauty of that comes out of it is that this is what the mold that you'll break, and that's what takes you to the next level. That we could be the best version of ourselves. So that challenge was very evident for me in the beginning. Just adapting to St. Gallen in itself, coming from North America, the courses, the lectures, maybe the gaps that I had to fill. I'm realizing, whoa, the thesis was definitely one of them. But again, using the right resources, relying on your cohort, you'll get there. You will get there, and it's amazing when you do. I can't tell you how happy I was when I click submit on that thesis. It's hard to explain how good you feel, and I think everyone else can on the panel will agree to that effect. Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
great. That's great. Thank you for
Yeah.
sharing that, Samir. So I'm very conscious of time, and we still have 3 minutes, and I would love to maximize that by posing one last question, because we had several in the Q&A box. One of them in particular is on entrepreneurship, and so maybe I'm going to pack two together, and maybe you could briefly say, what was the value of the networking that you were able to do? You've alluded to it already in our conversation, but if there's anything you want to add in terms of what the networking within the cohort, but the broader University of St. Gallen network, what that has brought you, and also keeping in mind if you have any thoughts about what maybe you've seen in your cohorts, that those who are entrepreneurs or became entrepreneurs, how they maybe also benefited from this.
Yes, we have in our course also people who had left the career that they have, which was a very impressive career, and set up a startup. Everybody know the first few years and the future of startup. This really needs it's a risky undertake, but it's also I have full respect for something like that, as I have never done something like that in my life. But I would say is you can definitely benefit from this, especially after EMBA, because you're equipped with absolutely everything that can set you, if this is your desire, right, that you can go into this much more confident, entering something and trying be your own boss, right? That's usually the motivation. But also the thesis, for example, in some cases, people reflected in such a way that this was a project which will be a startup. And I thought this is also a very nice, elegant way to maximize the whole thing, right? So you prepare, you also have wonderful teachers who would support this initiative. And I know that the HSG is very known for embracing this culture of small businesses, startups, etc. Many presenters in many of the topics, also in modules, came and presented their stories, successful or less successful, as a learning towards. But I just thought, looking on all of that, that how impressive is that? If you want to go that direction, you have the tool, you have a people, you have a network, and HighScale's organization is very supportive.
Thank you, Smilia.
Agreed. And having the various panelists come in from an entrepreneurial point of view was invaluable from different, from different industries in itself, from startups in different industries. That was very much part of our program as well. So for anyone that is, of an entrepreneurial mindset, this program is also very beneficial to you.
Great.
I agree with everything has been said before. We also had an entrepreneur in our team. I think he's pretty successful in driving his startup. Who's a Dennis, very very smart. And I think what is important for entrepreneurship is entrepreneurial drive. And entrepreneurial drive is built on inspiration. And when you're there is quite enough inspiration. Yeah. So about the network, it was super useful for me. I even considered some offers and. So I could leverage, I would say, and not only me, especially those people who are already in the senior roles. We had those cases.
Great. And it is 13:31. I've gone over by 1 minute, but I think this was really valuable. And so we will end the webinar at this point. And I want to just first of all say thank you to all of you who've joined us, all of your questions, really very, very much appreciated. Thank you for your interest in the program. And of course, really a true warm-hearted thank you to our alumni panel. Thank you for your inputs, your insights, sharing your experiences. Really, this has been a great hour, and many, many thanks. So with that, I wish you all a lovely day. And of course, any questions about the program, feel free to reach out to me at any point. Very happy to have a conversation with any of you, answer you by email. And we do have also our masterclass coming up on the 12th of March in Zurich, in case you're able to join us.